Well, chunks of the West have been stuck in a drought for years now. And we know those hot, dry conditions are now helping fan more than 40 wildfires currently burning. But what's more difficult to predict is how long this drought will last and when the next one could begin. Michael Erb, an assistant research professor at Northern Arizona University, joins us this morning to help understand why. Thanks for joining us. So you're the lead author on a study that examined 1,000 years of drought across the Southwest. What did that study find?
Yeah, exactly. So, like you said, drought is a bit difficult to predict. We have predictions that maybe go ahead a few months, but even those can only tell you, is this drought going to intensify? Is it going to get weaker? Maybe is a new drought going to develop? So, we wanted to look at more data. We have about 150 years of good instrumental data, but when you want to look at more data than that, say 1,000 years, you want to look at the past. And one way we can do that is through looking at things called proxy records. These are like tree rings or ice cores. Basically, they're anything that the climate of the past affected and then were preserved so we can look at them today. So we use things like that as well as climate models to take a look at what drought was like over the past 1,000 years. And we also reconstructed what was the ocean doing over the past 1,000 years? Because that's a big component of how drought is going to react. Is there a El Nino? Is there a La Nina? And we looked at these connections over this nice long time scale to try to see if we could figure out, more robust connections that would help prediction in the future.
So based on your research, is it more difficult or easier now to predict future droughts in the Southwest?
Well, that's hard to say. It's always been a little bit of a challenge, and I think it's going to be a challenge going forward. One thing we found was that a connection that people talk about is the connection between drought and La Nina. And La Nina is something that happens in the eastern equatorial Pacific. Basically, a cooler patch of water develops, and it has teleconnections. It has effects on climate in places all over the world. And La Nina tends to promote drought in the Southwest. And in our survey of the past 1,000 years, we did see this was true, that to a large extent, well, to some extent, La Nina encourages drought in the Southwest. But one thing we found is that the connection wasn't as strong as, well, I personally was hoping. And it really only explained about 13% of the drought variability, whereas a lot of the drought variability seemed to be connected to atmospheric variations, and those are a lot more difficult to predict. The ocean changes slowly, so you can predict it better in the future, whereas the atmosphere changes more quickly.
Interesting research. Michael Erb with the Northern Arizona University, thanks so much for joining us this morning to talk about that.